are you talking about? She said, yeah, marijuana. And honest to God, his helpers come around and picked him up and took him away because he was in a pile of shit he couldn't get out of. And you just couldn't argue with her. You just couldn't. I mean, I always love her, you know, and I miss her. The world is a little bit sadder without her. But I'll tell you one thing, and this is words from her: keep up the goddamn fight. Don't give up yet.
Thank you, Bob. All right, we are going to hear from Jody from Florida Cannabis Network. She's going to have some great things to tell us. So here's Jody James, Team Florida Can.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. With me up here right now is our current leadership team, part of our current leadership team. We have a lot of our board of directors in the room. Josephine. Josh, can you bring me the little box that is there? Yeah, there's a purple box inside of that. We've got, from our board, we have Josephine Canella Creel. On Zoom, you will see Mike Crowitz and Maria Hurley, our immediate past, one of our immediate past president. David McKinney, you met Maine Dave. He is here. We have from our advisory board, Dr. Barry Gordon. Can you hold that? You'll hear from Dr. Barry Gordon in a little while. Bob O, who is formerly on our board. It was an entirely long list of people that have had an opportunity to really impact Kathy's life. And so I have our first vice president, Colette Florido, and she's going to come up here. We're going to talk to you about your trinkets for a minute. And so Colette's going to make sure that you know all about the seeds.
Yeah, really quickly, when I met Kathy, when I've had the opportunity to be with Kathy, there was one thing that was very evident, that she is always present. She was always present in the conversation. She paid close attention to your hairstyle, the color of your shirt, and so she was always present. And with the family, she was always trying to recognize the family because she knew that we were sharing a message. We know how important what she has said and what she has done so far, how important that is to our cause to free this plant. We gave you a little packet, and inside of there is a heart-shaped paper with seeds, wildflower seeds. Wish they were other seeds.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Hold tight. But these seeds are just a little wildflower because she was a wildflower and because we need a little reminder to stay strong, to continue to be present. So I hope you will take an opportunity to plant this in a space that's special to you so you have the chance to continue this mission on. You find the strength in being present and you grow those flowers with those seeds. Thank you.
When Kathy and I first got involved with Cannabis Action Network, our motto was planting seeds. This was 1998 when we were first created. Cannabis Action Network had been around for a long time, and the Cannabis Action Network's national motto was planting seeds. By the time we got to, 2010, maybe 2015, I'm like, you know what? The reason you plant seeds is to reap a harvest. And we changed our logo from planting seeds to welcome to the harvest. You are all part of that harvest. I'm so very grateful to see each and every one of you here. When you plant seeds, there's things that you have to be mindful of. You have to be mindful to have prepared the ground. Throwing and scattering your seeds in ground that's not prepared is worthless. Kathy understood the value of planting seeds in fertile ground. When you plant the seed, you may not be the person who tills the seed and works the plants and protects them, but someone has to. And when you plant the seeds, you may not be the one who reaps the harvest. As we were talking about this, Dana said, we just want people to care like Kathy. Dana, you want to talk about the lighters?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit taller, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Okay.
Be you, beautiful.
So yeah, I just
And making her logo. That's what I wanted you to talk
yeah, absolutely. So Kathy and I actually never got to meet in person. And it's so strange because I had to think about it for a second because we spent so much time together virtually. And I didn't get to know her when she was really able to travel. But I felt really blessed to always help her because she was so willing to help others and cared so much about others. I did feel super blessed that she helped provide us with that medical market. So when she asked me to do things, I don't know, she's like my favorite person to do things for. So I would just jump to, and we'd get on a call, and John would translate, and we would talk about what she wanted and goals and businesses, and she wanted a logo for Kathy's Choice. So we went through like, I don't know how many shades of purple, honestly, trying to find her favorite shade of purple for her logo. And she was just such a proud woman, and she was proud of her son. And we did a sun-grown logo too together. And in the end, we were working on Kathy's botanical garden, literally just a couple days before. She was such a vibrant, strong person, an amazing woman, and she didn't have to be here. Once she had her medical necessity, she didn't have to be here for us. She didn't have to be here for her patients. She could have just taken care of herself. But the truth is Kathy had the biggest heart out of all of us. And so if people can take care like Kathy out there with them, we can continue her mission. Because like you said, sometimes you reap benefits that you didn't plant seeds for. And I'm so grateful to her because I reaped those benefits. Yeah.
She was on a call with us. She was still a working member of our board of directors and was on a call with us on July 2nd. So we were all quite surprised. It's funny when you work with someone for 27 years that's terminal that you would actually be surprised by her passing. You'd have thought I'd have prepared for that. I was pleased and honored that Florida Cannabis Action Network was allowed to prepare the memorial. We worked very closely with John and Karen to make sure that Kathy would be honored in this space. I said, I got this. This is not the first party I've thrown for Kathy. I'm sad that it's the last. One of the tokens that we would enjoy, well, that's on you, boo. One of the things that we would enjoy you picking up, Cynthia Brewer created these beautiful rosin hearts. She created them since Kathy's passing. She made one for everyone in the room. In the heart, you will find some seeds. Those are cannabis seeds. And you will also find some flower from Kathy's garden. So the idea is that you can take a little piece of Kathy's garden with you. We have, I think I won't do that. I do have a special gift that Cynthia created for Josephine Canella Creel. You'll hear from her in a few minutes. And for Maria Hurley, and Maria will make sure that you get your special gift. On your table, you should have some lighters, and you should have some candles. And as we were thinking about this, she was born a good Irish girl and a good Irish Catholic, and I will tell you that I never knew that girl. I knew the one that David described. I haven't cried until David said, and she had mouth like a sailor. I'm like, where did my husband get such a great sense of humor? So So we wanted to make sure I had put down a couple little words. Certainly, care like Kathy, as you are posting things, as you are thinking of the things that you want to say, as you're finding pictures and remembrances. We would appreciate you using that hashtag, care like Kathy. I also found that we had used hashtag stand with Kathy. So I would encourage you to hashtag stand with Kathy. There's a picture coming through of me pulling Kathy into a standing position. In 27 years, there is one picture of the two of us standing together. I looked at her and like, damn, I didn't know you were so short. Go figure. So I put together a little mantra, and we'll call this our idea of a prayer. I'm going to read it first. And if you agree and feel comfortable repeating it with me, then I'll invite you on the second time to repeat it with me or repeat it after me, kind of. And then we're going to light our candles. And there is a part that says, may we find other lights among the darkness. And when we do that the second time around, that's when I'd like to see you light your candles. David, do you have a phone that you can kind of turn around that way for a minute? So if you're comfortable saying this with me, here is my prayer. Kathy, may your fire live on. May we carry a piece of your courage. May we find other lights among the darkness. May we have the wisdom to choose our battles and the wit to laugh off the losses. If that can something that you can appreciate and resonate with, then I would encourage you to light your candle in remembrance of Kathy. Be mindful that we have given you tools. When you find yourself in the darkness, we have given you light. When you find yourself sad, we have given you an opportunity to spark it up. So after me, Kathy, may your fire live on. May we carry a piece of your courage. May we find other lights among the darkness. May we have the wisdom to choose our battles and the wit to laugh at our losses. To Kathy Jordan, may her fire live on. Thank you all for being here.
Not that short. Thank you, Jody. Jody James. And that's Josephine. So I was going to have you next, but after that, I'm going to make you wait. How about Marie Hurley? All right, so Marie Hurley on screen. She looks confused, but I know she knows what to say. So Marie Hurley. Hold on. We need to bring up the Zoom. If you can hear us, we're trying to get your volume up. Audio's on.
Say something again, Maria.
I'm seeing you're on headset. Is that right, David?
That's right.
Say something, Maria. Oh, it's red now. It should be green. All right, it just must have been the way to be. While you work on that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you, Josephine Krill. She wears many hats. One for Florida Can, one for the Flowery, and one for anything else she so desires. So, Josephine.
Wow. It's rare that I'm speechless, but it does happen every once in a while. I am so grateful and honored to be here with you all. I see so many faces that literally spans over a decade now, all here to honor our friend Kathy. Kathy Jordan was born on New Year's Day, and her mighty spirit decided to gain independence from her body on Independence Day. And while I sure am gonna miss my friend Kathy somehow, that seems so very fitting. I learned so much from Kathy, and she's had such a great impact on my life, both personally and professionally. I do the things that I do today in a large part because my path crossed with Kathy, because I, like so many of us, found myself up at the Capitol just wanting to speak truth to power. 80 to 100 years of prohibition takes a minute or two to unwind. And, Bob spoke about Kathy being one of the most courageous people he ever met. You know, she had such a soft and gentle spirit to her, but that fire, it was really in her eyes. And I'm so honored to have chased behind her down those halls, and in some cases even had the honor and privilege of helping her get her message across. And Kathy could have stopped a long time ago, but it was not enough for her to have her needs met. She did not want to rest until everybody had access to this plant that she knew could literally save lives and obviously bring people together. And we all owe her such a great debt of gratitude, because while Ron DeSantis will take the credit for making flour available to the people of Florida, we know, because we were in that courthouse with her, and we knew that he didn't have a choice. She sued the state. She sued the Department of Health. She sued the governor of Florida because she knew that we had a right, and she wasn't going to rest. And one of my very favorite sayings of Kathy's is lead, follow, or get out of the way. And Kathy led, and she led us all. And I know she led me because I had a hard time keeping up with her sometimes, quite honestly. I'm telling you, she would be zooming around. And so I want to thank my friend, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have met all of you nice people. And, we have quite literally changed the course of history. And sometimes I get so caught up in my daily thing because, like, now cannabis is just my thing, right? It's what I do every day. But part of what my mission is, being on the inside of the dispensary world, is to help the providers remember that even in the wake of adult use, we can't forget the people whose backs this program and this right was built on. And so that is one of my greatest honors, is to be able to do that. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And we're not done. We still have work to do.
Thank you, Josephine. We're going to try Maria Hurley again, correct? Yep. All right, so Maria Hurley. Smile.
Can you hear me?
Sign language, yay! All right, Maria Hurley.
Right on. Well, this is overwhelming. This entire experience is overwhelming. The presence of everyone here today, the memories that I have with all of you, the different places that we've met, all because of Kathy. All because of Kathy is overwhelming to me, and I'm so grateful to see you all together. It's amazing. Bob Bo, it was great to hear our song. I'm also overwhelmed by the loss of Kathy. My thoughts have been consumed by her throughout the week. No matter what I'm doing, I'm gonna laugh or I'm gonna cry, and it's been very emotional. She had such, and will continue to have such an immeasurable impact on the world. The day that I met her, very interesting meeting. Everybody's got a story, but I met Kathy on the day that she testified in the smoking trial. I had no idea of my path forward with Florida Can. I think I'd been involved for about 3 weeks at that point in time. But the second that I met Kathy was like the warmest, most open, inviting moment. Here she's about to do this really hard, ridiculous thing that we should have never had to have been there to do in the first place. And she just looks at me and smiles and says, "Thank you for being here today with Florida Cannabis Action Network." It changed my life. You felt like you were under her umbrella. Kathy wanted everyone underneath her umbrella. We weren't expecting her to lose, to go out so soon. I was looking forward to the 75th celebration. We've had some great birthday celebrations with Kathy over the years. But she went out with a bang. She went out and to be independent from everything that she did deal with from with her body. I thank everyone who has been involved with Kathy's care over the years, because it takes a village, and some of us may have been a face for Florida Cannabis Action Network, but there's an entire village of people out there that support moving to have her travel and live her day-to-day life. I just thank you so much. My heart goes out to John and Karen and Bob and Jody. Thank you for sharing all of your stories with us that's what Kathy would want you to know, that you have a voice and a vote. Speak to everybody you know between now and November about cannabis and about Amendment 3 and keep pushing it forward. Let's crack open that door and get more done. Oh, and I also wanted to remind people of one of my favorite quotes. And I'm sorry, Dr. Barry, if I'm stealing this from you, because you were probably going to bring it up today. But 6 years ago today, we were at a conference, and Kathy was one of the most humorous people I've ever known. She had a lot of great one-liners, and she said that the legislature was about as effective as a crocheted condom. So I just want to remind everyone why we are at the point to where we have a constitutional amendment to vote on. It is because we weren't able to get that action from our legislature. So whether or not this passes in November, we need your support. We thank you for your support. I love you all. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this and for loving Kathy with me.
Thank you, Maria. Now we're going to hear from Dr. Uma.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for this honor and privilege to be here to say a few words. I want to thank Kathy, her family, her friends, and everyone that's in this room here today and that's not in the room, because truly, Kathy was a mentor in my life. I entered the cannabis world in 2010 when my mom was dying of idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and I was working at the Hanford site in Washington State. I had learned nothing about the endocannabinoid system, and understanding the opportunity to educate and to change the stigma was something that Kathy instilled in my life. I met her and came to know of her at the Patients at a Time conference in 2010 when I met Al Byrne and Marilyn Mathers, and that became my mission. I'm very proud that today I have been able to speak about this plant nationally and globally, and my mission is to change the stigma regarding cannabis and for everybody in the world to know about the endocannabinoid system and to do it through education. I've also been very fortunate to take care of patients that have ALS and to make an impact on them. Many people don't understand that ALS impacts 90% of the people that get ALS have nothing to do with a genetic disorder. Only 10% of people have some type of familial or genetic relationship to this. And it's a neurodegenerative disease that averages about 3 to 5 peoples of life to extended. And Kathy not only showed us that this was not the norm, but she extended her life for over 30 years after her diagnosis. And she not only lived with this disease, but she made it a point to impact as many people and change the lives and make this plant available to so many people and to educate about it. Many people have the strength, the courage, and the ability and don't speak up. Kathy didn't have the ability, but she made everything from her disability to make it an ability for others to speak up. And one of those people was me. I have had the strength of Kathy, and I will continue to have the strength. As many of you understand what we have to do, our roles have not ended. We must continue to learn and educate. And to me, safety is also a greater concern. We must educate the people about the plant and the endocannabinoid system and responsible use, and to understand that this medicine has a great impact. It is not a panacea, but it must be a first line option and not the last resort. And it should not depend on your zip code to have access to this plant. We have the opportunity, each one of us, to remember, reach one, teach 10 is the message that I say. Everybody does not know about the endocannabinoid system, and everybody must know about this system, and that is our mission here. I want to thank every one of you for being here today, Please remember the strength and courage that Kathy lives in us and the legacy that she has left with us. I want to thank her family and friends. Please remember all her mission statements to vote, to know about this and what each of us has a responsibility. And remember that each of us can touch people's heart knowingly or unknowingly. And Kathy did that for each of us. I want to say thank you. God bless. I love you all. And I'm sorry I'm not able to be there. The last time I got to meet Kathy was on February 20th, 2022. I love you. God bless. Be well. I will be in Germany continuing this message. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Uma. Next, we're going to hear from Steve Edmond. Steve? I think you got to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Mary Lynn. Okay. We're going to hear from, I call her ML, but Mary Lynn.
Okay.
Okay. Mary Lynn from Patients at a Time. Geez, I don't even know where to begin to tell you about Patients at a Time, but here's Mary Lynn.
Now that you say that,
Thank you.
Kathy was the epitome of patience at a time. Excuse me. You know, when I first met Kathy, I had to stare at her to see what she was saying, to try to read her lips as she talked. And it was, 5 years later or something, after more cannabis use for her, that, you can understand her on the phone. I could understand her anytime after she had some cannabis. But Patients Out of Time, our whole goal was to educate people about cannabis, and the purpose of the name, acronym being POT, but the purpose of the name was literally patients needed the medicine now. They don't have time to wait for research. And every patient out there wants research. We all want to know which cannabis variety is going to be best for us. Kathy found her wonder with the Mayaca Gold and stuck to it. And it was amazing to hear her stories about trying other forms of cannabis and never being able to reap the benefits. She found what worked for her, and by golly, it worked, as she outlived her physicians and outlived many in her group. I want to reiterate what Robert Tornello said. I think that's absolutely fantastic. If we can get 420 to be Kathy Jordan Day, that would just be so fitting, because we should not forget her. I wanted to say one little, when we talk about Kathy being able to get through anything, if I have a bad day, all I have to think of is, if Kathy can do it, surely I can do it. But if you've seen the movie Little Big Man, there was one line about persevere to persevere. And that is what she did. She would not give up. She just kept going. If you all remember years back, remember for ALS, it got really popular, the ice bucket thing. Drop that bucket of ice for you to raise money and raise awareness for cannabis. And we never did do it, but Kathy's idea was, put me out there, pour a bucket of buds over my head for ALS so people could get it. That's what we need. We need, so much funding, but get the cannabis out to the patients. And I know anytime she heard about some ALS patients, she would try to reach out to them and just say, what can you do? How can I help? And please consider cannabis. I think, as everyone said, she never gave up. She had what she needed, but she was always looking for others. I know children especially was a big issue for her. The idea that kids, whether it be cancer, you name it, ADD, ADHD, whatever it was, that kids could benefit from cannabis, autism, she wanted to fight for it. She always did fight for it. So I'm so sorry I couldn't be down there to join all of you. I'm up in Virginia, hot as heck up here. But again, having Kathy at our conferences was a joy. I think one of the most impactful ones we had in 2012 in Tucson when she spoke, and John was there to help make sure we could understand her, but she didn't need that much help. Her words have so much meaning. And again, for all you, reach out to John, Kathy, Bob, for being there with her, for making sure she could get to where she needed to be. That was just absolute love and devotion from them. And I know we all appreciate how much they helped her push her story through. She's a fighter, and as Josephine said, Independence Day, that's the way for her to go. She's up there looking down at us. She's there with us to help us keep going. And again, you can do anything if you think of Kathy. Her strength was amazing. Thanks all.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. All right.
All right,
There,
testing.
Steve?
Can you hear me now? All right, cool. So I apologize for the technical difficulties and the fact that I can't be there this afternoon. I really wish I could be. First time I had the honor to meet Kathy was in 2009, right after the 2008 Kathy Jordan Medical Cannabis Act. I met her in Tallahassee, and it was a memorable experience. The next time was in the next year, and then the year after that, and then the year after that, and the year after that, and it became kind of a pleasant treat to see Kathy and Bob up in Tallahassee on a regular basis. But I'd have to say that the funnest, the most enjoyable occasion was down in Polk County during the Amendment 2 campaign. And I was working for an attorney general campaign at the time, and Amendment 2 was in full swing, and there was a bunch of the community there, and we were there to listen to Sheriff Grady tell everybody how he was gonna, follow the law and this, that, and the other, and the one-liners that were coming from Kathy were absolutely amazing and inspirational, to say the least. They kept people going on a regular basis, and my last time I was supposed to see Kathy was last week, and unfortunately the testing machine that I was going to take down to test some oil doesn't work anymore. It's from Israel, and they don't do the database anymore. So personally, this one hurt really hard because I didn't get a chance, and I'm sorry for that. Sorry. The one thing that I will carry with me, hopefully, is Kathy's strength, and hopefully we will be able to each utilize that and channel that, and make it better for everybody's personal opportunities. So, man, this was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So, most people have said the great things that we all remember about her, and that's where I'd like to leave it, is remembering with that. And hopefully, we'll all see each other again real soon, and smoke a big fatty and smile and laugh about it. So, with that, I'll see y'all soon, and 420 is coming up in about 30 minutes, so get ready.
Thank you, Steve. Okay. Yep. Oh, sorry.
Just going to take a minute and call out a couple of things that we got here on the chat. We don't have time for everybody, but Mike Crowlett says, please let everyone know I'm there with you in spirit, that Kathy was a powerhouse, one of the very few I called mentor, and someone I was proud to call a friend. Chris Cano says, Kathy was the best of, the bravest, and will always be a saint in my heart and the hearts of those whose soul she touched with her kind words and fierce spirit. May she be granted a place of equal status in the Lord's kingdom that she holds in our hearts. I wish I could speak, but have a crying newborn. Mike Crowlett says we should write a book. Each leader can write a chapter and a chapter dedicated to family and friends. Gary Wainwright says hi to everyone. Mike says that I inspired him to say, as a leader of one of the cannabis movement's most successful special forces unit, happy to give Kathy honorable mention. Yes, she was one of us. Robert also spent a bit of time working on one of our special projects. We don't talk about past projects, and only those need to know given info on current projects, but we're happy to honor our members, the few, the proud, those who get the job done with no thought of compensation for the sake of our future. Much love. And a quote from Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So thanks, guys, for the comments.
Oh, okay, we only have a few minutes left here. Barry Gordon, if you want to come up and say a few words, please. Haven't been in a band in a while. I don't have my mic skills down real well. I got it. There you go, Barry.
No, listen, I'm so humbled to even be asked to say a few words, Brad. And listen, I promise I will be a couple bad jokes and get the heck out of here. First bad joke will be, listen, from what I hear, Kathy outlives like every one of her doctors. So I was never Kathy's doctor. So I guess I'm kind of happy about that, you know. I'm kidding, but I'm not. But it is the miracle of Kathy Jordan, and I mean that I really want to speak to today as a physician, and I'm so honored. You know, I didn't know that Dr. Umba was going to be on before me, another mentor. There's so many mentors for me here, Kathy being one of them. And the point is, it's the memory of Kathy that I will always cherish. Would be the first time that I met her, and I think Jimmy J was there. I think it was the day he unfurled the banner in the Capitol, and I met Bob and Kathy for the first time. As an Ohio carpetbagger, my feeling is that, you know, I know nothing. I was so wrapped in love and joy by these people when I came down here, and I'm forever indebted to that. You gave me a new life here in Florida, Bob and Kathy. And really, I was the guy that picked up the ball at the 50-yard line. You know, so many here laid the foundation for what each and every one of us do now, which is carrying that ball forward to where we know it needs to be. My best and most joyous remembrance was the night that we did Reefer Madness in Sarasota. Bob, I know you remember that night. We had Sean Shaw there, who was running for Attorney General, and others. It was just a joyous revival of the complete idiocy of cannabis policy through the years, and just that joyous normalization, so to speak, in society was one of the things that I will always remember. Last thing I just want to mention, I'm a doctor. Kathy was the first real medical cannabis patient that I can say I ever met. And as Dr. Uma said, they don't teach this in medical school. They still don't. But the endocannabinoid system is real, and it's a homeostatic system. It brings us back to balance. And I think Kathy's legacy for me, and I hope for all of us, will be to continue with the research so we can find out what the magic was in the plant for not just Kathy, but every medical patient. All the cannabinoids, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids, right? And we're just scratching the surface now because of the federal Schedule I designation that has stood in the way of what we all want. So I just love the idea of the 420, Bob, and I would say the other date that could be would be June 23rd, right, which was the day that smokable cannabis was brought to Florida. So, one of those 2 days would be awesome. But thank you so much for that suggestion. And thank you so much for even asking me. I'm so honored to even have a chance to honor Kathy today.
Barry Gordon. Well, before John and before Bob, there was another gentleman who definitely helped with the growing of cannabis and Kathy at times. And that would be Arnold. And if he would come up here, please, and I'm sure he's got a couple of words to say.
Hi, thank you, everybody. I'm not going to say a whole lot, just a couple words, and keep it on the humorous side and not get too serious so I don't fall apart. Two of the most funny things that happened with Kathy and I were at the Capitol, of course. One time my wife was sitting making fun and laughing at it all, but it was like 19 degrees, and we were going from the Senate building to the House building. And it was so cold, her hand had gotten kind of frozen a little bit, and she started going in circles. And I'm like, and my wife's in a van staying warm across the way watching, and I'm trying to dive in and dive in to see if I can, get her hand and get it to stop. And that was pretty funny, but I guess the real winner has to be one time in Senator Stubbe's office with Bob, and Senator Stubbe and Kathy. Kathy needed a little bit of water to drink, so Bob's looking through her wheelchair trying to get a bottle of water, and as he's pulling things down, he pulls out the nicest four-finger bag you would ever believe. But just on a heavy note, and I'll end it, my biggest honor was first time I held a joint to her mouth over a decade ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold. That brings a point. I remember when I first met Kathy, and there's something that happens when you meet her that we've all talked about, but also when you get the opportunity to actually share some medicine with her, it's just, I don't know, it's an eye-opening experience, and I'll never forget the first time that I shared some medicine with her. So, John, if you'd be so kind to come up. John, Kathy's son. Consider him a great friend, fellow cultivator, fellow learner of cannabis.
Okay. Hello. How's everyone doing? Yes, I also want to start by saying thank you, everyone, for being here and sharing this moment. Special thanks to Robert, Jody, and Team Florida Can, the Flowery, True Leave. So I hear all these stories about how everybody knew how my mom's energy was. Well, I lived with her. And sometimes she'd have me do things against my better judgment. And I'll share a story. One of the last adventures we had in the van together, she woke up panicking about something, and hey, what is it today? What are we conquering today, Mom? She said, well, my legal signature is an X, and I don't think they'll allow that when I vote. And I said, well, why are you worried about that? Well, load me in the van and take me to the election office. I want to make sure that X is accepted. And I getting her in a van meant every time I hit the gas pedal, her neck would snap backwards. I hit the brake and it would snap forward. So she knew she was going to put herself through some abuse just to go get that done. I didn't argue with her like usual. I'm like, all right, let's go, let's get it done. So sure enough, we go into the supervisor of elections office, and he said, no, an X is not a credible signature for when you vote, but you can sign your name next to it and say witness, and that'll be accepted. And I said, okay. So we get in the car and we're driving home, and I said, you know, you just put yourself through all that abuse. What was so important? She said, excuse my language, God damn it, I want to make sure my vote counts for Amendment 3. And I was like, okay, you know. So, I mean, even putting herself in harm's way, she wanted everybody to have access that she had. When she got medical necessity, she didn't give up. We could legally medicate her and grow our own medicine on the property, and she never gave up, you know. So, yeah, so my brain has been going a million miles an hour because, as Bob said 5 years ago, they grow apart. And I remember the day she said to me, are you ready to be full-time caregiver? And yeah, I guess so. And her little voice in my head said, you're on a path of darkness, dude. You're killing your wife. You're killing yourself. You can keep doing that, or you can serve your purpose. So I did. I served my purpose. And that's how strong her energy was. She kept us well. She was the handicapped person, but she kept us well. So, I mean, I don't have her to care for every day anymore, but my wife, she cares for both of her parents. So on days where I question my sanity, I was like, well, at least it's only one parent. It's not two parents, you know. And, yeah, like, again, if anybody knows about opiate addiction, she kept us strong. I got 5 years because of her that I can say I'm clean. And being a caregiver, you know, when it's a parent, you put their health before yours. We gave up our businesses, we gave up our livelihood, we gave up our freedom, you know, but my wife said the first day, 3 times the strength, or 3 times the love, 3 times the strength. We'll get through it. And, you know, yeah. She's that powerful of a woman, and I appreciate everything.
All right, I think we're one more person. Tom Quigley from the Florida Cannabis Action Network, or that's 2 things, Florida Cannabis Coalition. I just formed 2 companies. I met Tom, I don't know, 12 years ago and spoke all over the state with him.
Thank you, Brad. Not a lot of people know this, but I never used cannabis growing up. I never even considered using cannabis. And then I had a mass on my pancreas in 2012. And my parents told me about my cousin that was living out in Washington that had a dispensary. So I started researching it. And I came across this video of this little old couple that had their door kicked in Parrish. And the police raided them. They brought in, it looked like SWAT teams. And I was at my parents' house, and I was watching it. And it was a veteran and a woman in a wheelchair. My dad's a veteran, and my mom's a woman in a wheelchair. So I was like, what is this? So really, if it wasn't for Bob and Kathy, I probably would have never got involved in cannabis. And that started me on my journey into learning more about it. It turned out that it wasn't pancreatic cancer. So I was in telecom. My doctor said you could go do whatever you want. So I got out of that industry, and I started traveling the country, and I was going out west, and I was going to bring my wife, and we were going to go to Colorado. And, you know, I decided, I heard there was an initiative here. So I joined Eric Stevens and John Morgan to work on Amendment 2, which we were legalizing marijuana. So I started going to these little meetups. And I went to University of South Florida. Normal had a group there. And lo and behold, who's there? Bob and Kathy. So, you know, I'm like fanboying this. I'm like, man, these are the people that the reason I'm doing this. So I go over and I introduce myself. And I remember I get down and I'm talking to Kathy. And then Bob puts his hand on my shoulder and he goes, she likes you. I could tell. You know, whenever somebody touches her or gets down, she likes you. And then I told him how I saw them on the news. And you know, he got angry at me. You know why he was mad? Because they called them senior citizens on the news. He was mad. He goes, you know those goddamn people, they called us senior citizens? But anyways, we had a lot of great times together, you know. The community that has come from this whole industry. And, you know, I credit, you know, both Bob and Kathy. And then over the years, every time I saw her, it was like, you know, they were parents to me, a second set of parents, guiding me through every step. You know, we would talk, even when Bob's been in Maine, we've talked a number of times. And I just wouldn't be here in this industry if it wasn't for Kathy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tom. Is Gary still online? Yes? All right, Gary Wainwright.
Oh, great. Well, the early 90s, and I'd like to give a shout out to Kevin Applin. I sent him the link. I don't think he was ever able to sign on from Portugal. But the Florida Cannabis Action Network really has been quite phenomenal station in the South. And I had Kathy in the early 90s. And I'm sure everybody knows this. She just had an incredible grace about her, at least my perception. With her, whether we're doing trial, medical marijuana case, which we did on court TV. She was always there and always just very confident we were going to achieve what it was we were attempting to do. What it is we've all been attempting to do, and I don't know what those damn things are on my face there. We think the fact he outlived their doctors. Michael Harris, Mike's there, and Steve Evans, and I'm going to be 70 in September. It has been the longest, stupidest fight that man has ever imagined. The fight for us to be able to have a relationship with a plant that God or not, or chance or whatever we have an endocannabinoid system in our body. We co-evolved with this plant. And recently, some of y'all may have seen that Steve Gleason won the Arthur Ashe Espy Award. And he's an ALS patient. And I happened to be in the Louisiana Capitol when Steve Gleason revealed for the first time 2 years ago that what he attributes the safety of his life is to medical marijuana. And I'm still hoping for the day and supporting Steve and encouraging him. I had hoped when he was on that national platform with the ESPYs, when he made such a wonderful speech, that he would share with the world that it was marijuana that gave him his life. And there's thousands of people who are alive today and who have a better quality of life today because of people like Kathy Jordan. And I just pray, as one of the old guys, and I think about Dennis Perrone, I think about Jack Herrera, I think about all of us who have been on this march and in this fight for 5 decades now. And one of the real soldiers has gone on to her reward. And God bless Kathy Jordan. And believe me, God bless her husband, the caretakers who took care of her. It was a tremendous undertaking for her to go across the street. But wherever we were, she was in a good state of mind, and everyone with her was happy. And that's what I want us to remember, is that she was a happy person. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Gary. Scott Bledsoe. You there, Scott?
Hey, yeah. I'll just say a few words. Really, Kathy Jordan was a hero. She was my hero. She was a hero to the cannabis movement. Every time we did an event with her, she would go straight to the politician's face and was totally fearless. Nobody could look at her and say that somebody who uses cannabis as medicine belongs in jail. Jeb Bush couldn't say that to her. She gave him that opportunity, and he could not say that to her. So if anybody was the spokesperson for medical patients, somebody that needs marijuana as medicine, it was her. And, it extended her life by tenfold of what was expected. And just a complete hero to everyone in this movement. And, some of us are benefiting now from the work that she put in. And, it's been a long time coming for Florida, but you guys are on your way. And I hope that it passes this fall. And we've got to credit her for as much of that as we can. Thank you.
It is always 420 somewhere. I just bought that sign and put it on my screen porch. It's 420 somewhere. Thank you. Well, now it's 4:15. Yeah, if you want to go outside, just don't be too crazy about it. Right? Okay. We know you're going out there. Everything's hemp, right? It's all hemp. It's all good, and it's all hemp. Anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. I appreciate all of you for coming here and remembering Kathy Jordan. She's been obviously very instrumental in why we all are able to get a cannabis card and why we're all able to have medicine without having to go to jail. And I'm hoping that everybody out here votes yes on 3. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's better to have it. And let me tell you, everybody who wants to grow, it's not so easy. Ask Bob and John. They'll be glad to tell you. Anyway, thank you WSLR again in Fogartyville. Thank you, The Flowery, Josephine. True Leaves, so I'm not sure if Jacody or if you talked to Kim Rivers, but thank you. I saw Treadwell on here, so thank you to Treadwell. And again, thank you for coming. And we will thank you for all the family who came here, all the donations and everything. We appreciate all you. And I'm sure we're going to see you on this continuing journey. Thank you.